Okay, start recording here. Start recording on this one. You see me, just ignore me, pretend I don't exist. Alright, everything is recording. We are ready when you are, Mr. Ceglie.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. So we are here at your house in Tiverton.
Yeah,
Great setup. Thanks for having me over.
of course.
Is this the titular Chaseland?
Yeah, this is it. We're here. We're in Tiverton, Rhode Island. I don't know when I came up with the name, but I think I had like a big Elvis phase.
Yeah.
And then I had like a year-long obsession with Elvis. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, my name works for Graceland. So I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. How long have you been in Tiverton now?
This is since 2017 when I graduated from school. I came back here. This is actually my mom's childhood home. Yeah, I've been here for 5 years now.
Do you remember coming here as a kid?
Yeah, this was grandma's house growing up. I actually have like fond memories of going over to like the neighbor's house when I was a kid, and it always like disorients me to think about how I'm living here now, and I, the memories that I have feel completely disassociated from like being right here.
Yeah.
Like I remember we were watching Scooby Doo the other night here, and I have like a core memory of like watching it over at my neighbor's house. And I have to remind myself, oh, this was like I'm literally in the same exact house. If I'm away from this house for a little bit and I come back, it like still smells like grandma's house.
That's so sweet. It's so. I mean, it's weird because it's been 20 years, I guess, since those memories. So it's like,
Yeah.
it just becomes now it's become this new place of
Yeah.
grandma to Chaseland. So, here in Chaseland, when did you start incorporating music into like the spot?
Well, I was always doing music. I set up the home studio here. I mean, pretty much as soon as I got here, but it built. And I did all of Fear and Love Together here. And I actually did a bunch of stuff here within the past 5 years. Actually, it's funny, like the new album wasn't recorded here at all. It was like the only record that I've done so far that wasn't like totally my bedroom. So it's funny naming it this, but not recording any of it here.
Yeah, it feels a bit like a lie.
100%. It is a lie.
Where'd you record it?
Okay, so I recorded it in Brooklyn at my friend Jonathan Elyashiv's studio. He has this amazing setup. He and I've known him since high school because we were in the Rhode Island All-State Jazz Band together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he's an amazing bass player. So we went to school together. We went to Berkeley, and then I have been following him for a while. He's such a good musician. He's such a sick bass player. And then I started hearing his production, and I loved the sound of his drums a lot. And for here, it's funny, like this new record is very, it's 70s inspired. It's very singer-songwriter inspired, which I feel like I've been influenced by like the greenery of Rhode Island.
I mean, yeah, you have this field type, small field behind you and the bay right over there.
Yeah, I was inspired by the nature here. And so there's something like I started listening to. I feel like a lot of the music that I make always reflects what I'm listening to at the time, which I usually like zone in on a very specific sound for months, if not like a year at a time. And so I was really into like 70s singer-songwriter, chamber pop, it just fit here. Like it sounded like Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And I think I react to like the situations that I'm in. And so I hit up John, or I call him Yoni, and because he had that sound, like I mean, you can hear it on the record. Like his drums are just so nice, and he's totally like self-taught with production and stuff. He's an amazing guitar player. He's an amazing bass player. So I had to work with him for it, and I'm hoping that it's a collaboration that just keeps happening.
Keep going, yeah. It's funny you mentioned the drums, and listening to the record, Chaseland. I'm reminded of what is it? The Bell album.
Yes.
Al Green, and like that kind of era of
Yeah.
R&B, and like that drum sound where it's like I wouldn't say muted, but it's not.
Yeah, I remember telling you like that Bell album was a huge inspiration for me. Al Green, the Bell album, which is an album that he made. I mean, I love all of Al Green's stuff. There's like a griminess to the production.
Yeah.
But then the Bell album came along, and that was a different. I think he produced that all by himself, so it has a different sound to it. It's I fell in love with the dry drums, and specifically with the acoustic guitar and electric piano together.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about those two instruments together that just I've fallen in love with. And I was actually talking to Yoni about it recently. It's like being deliberate with the materials that you use, like specific, like the wood of the acoustic guitar with the metal of the electric piano, like sounds so, it has such a nice sound to it. And then incorporating other instruments like winds, which was on that Al Green record too. They have a lot of horn parts. I just fell in love with that sound. I mean, the amount of, even like Todd Rundgren was a big influence. And then the solo Beatles stuff was like gigantic for me, specifically Paul McCartney.
Yeah. I was gonna say, with the there's a couple songs that you do these bigger arrangements. Finally Lonely is huge.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Dion song, but that Hold On, from the second track. You have that like that 70s singer songwriter, and like that Paul McCartney Ram era, and even like the piano on some of the songs is like reminded me of Plastic Ono band. Like
yeah, definitely.
Like that first.
Definitely.
The Bell album. Is that the one that after he got burned?
Yeah, that was his first album after like that traumatic incident, which made him
Find Jesus.
Yeah, that's like his first like dip into spiritual religious music, and it just stuck with him. I also I think for this record I needed to. Oh my god, there's a cat doing something. I think for this album I needed to. What was huge was having a piano for my songwriting process, which I just recently got like an upright piano for my studio, and that changed everything for me for my writing process. So I grew up just like figuring out my way on piano, and then I would write stuff, and then I was removed from that process when I was in school. I didn't have like a piano access, so I was making a lot of the songs like on the computer. And so all the songs, I think that's like a bedroom pop thing. It's like you build the song in the computer. And so I did that for a while. Like Onion was like that. Provisional Pop song, Fear and Love, they were all like that. And this album was different because I have a piano. So all of the songs were written there on the piano before I even thought about recording them.
Yeah.
And that was gigantic for me because I was able to write, for this record, I set a goal for myself to write 30 songs. I hit the 25 mark.
Good enough.
Yeah. And well, I mean, a lot of this recording like caught me by surprise too. I didn't know I would be making an album when I did. Um, but I wrote all the songs before I even
Yeah.
thought about recording them, which was like, that was huge for me. And that's the way it used to be, like,
Right. Instead of walking in saying we're gonna make an album, boys,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
let's someone sits down at the piano,
Yeah.
figure out the chorus, the verse, the structure.
Yeah. And you come into the studio saying like, I have a song.
Yeah.
And it also was a really good exercise in limiting myself. I'm obsessed with songwriting.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's my biggest obsession is writing. And so I think a lot of the music I had made prior to this album was very like production heavy. I just wanted to like do like put different sounds. I just referencing so many different time periods
Yeah.
in pop music. And then this record, I wanted my songwriting to be the biggest element to it. And so I think I loved that 70s music because the production is understated for the most part. There's some, I mean, that doesn't take away from how great it is,
Yeah.
but it's understated. It gets out of the way of the song. And the song is, for me, the most important part. I believe that if you have a well-written song, it should work in most genres.
Mhm.
It's just a good song. And so that was my goal going into it. It was like, I have a deep passion for writing. So let me get the instruments out of the way and accompany the writing, all in service of the song.
Yeah. Think back to what you mentioned with Onion, you did in Berkeley, bedroom, here in Newport, wherever you could, and you did, and then Fear and Love to an extent, you have a lot of these, synths, electric piano, drum machine, drum pads,
Yeah.
and you have natural instruments on them as well. You have your saxophone, you have, guitars plugged into the DI into the laptop. And so with this album is, you have some synths on there, but it's so many organic sounds, organic instruments, real drums. You've used real drums before, but this is, purely real drums, real.
Yeah, I barely had used real drums before.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, a lot of it was just computer samples, whatever.
Yeah. And so, now you have all these real stuff. You have these lush arrangements. Like, what was it like? The writing process of the instrumental, like, I'm thinking about the woodwinds especially. So like you mentioned, you crafted these songs on the piano, and then how did everything else come into play after that?
It came when I didn't plan for most of it really. So I knew I wanted winds, and I'm pretty confident in my ability to like harmonize with myself with like wind instruments. So I kind of just went into it like, let's just get all the rhythm section stuff out of the way. So that was done in Brooklyn with John. Bass, drums, piano, guitar, all that. And then I just a lot of it is just improvising over things. And then finding what you like and then harmonizing with it. That's for me, at least, that's what it is. And I'm not writing stuff down. I'm just like stacking
a couple takes, and then you see, I like this one.
Yeah. And then, should I double this one? How do I pan it? And I think going forward, I would like to have more of like an arranged, just more complex wind writing. Not to say that like, not to take anything away from the music from this go about, but like, doing like wind arrangements with a chamber, like a live kind of thing. That is ultimately the goal for me. I really want to do that.
Get some strings on it.
Yeah. But for the most part, I'm just harmonizing with myself. And it's really fun. It's also very tedious and like kind of, it can be torture, but it's fun.
So I'm thinking about, your first album, Onion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we've said, you know, took on, you know, different eras of pop music, and then, you know, same with Fear and Love. But I'm curious about, you know, the release of Onion. So you put out Onion in 2016,
Yeah.
and I remember, you know, you putting out, it was a great album. It's a great album. It was a great gift to, you know, friends,
Mm.
family, you know, people close to your circle.
Mm.
And then slowly it took on a life of its own.
Yeah.
You know, word of mouth, friends sharing with friends
Yeah.
playing it for friends, and now it's achieved this, you know, years later, this prominence on, you know, the internet. Hey, Lil,
Hopefully Lou comes up here.
come on up. And then Fear and Love.
Yeah.
You do.
This is Pinky.
Hey, Pinky. You do 2 singles, and then the album.
Yeah.
And then this album is all singles.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious if, well, one, your intentions behind doing all singles, and we'll get to the videos within that, but doing all singles, all 8 songs.
Yeah.
But then also, how, I guess, I guess we'll call it the delayed success of Onion, if that
Yeah.
had any influence on your release plan this time.
Yeah, it's funny to think about, like, so with Onion, that was like, I call it like my message in a bottle. Because I just, you know, I set the intention when I was in school. That was like my well, a lot of that music. So starting in my second year at school, I made a rule for myself. I was making music. I was like just writing stuff, but I set a rule for myself, which was I'm gonna take an entire year. I won't release anything that I do. I will just. I'm gonna make an album.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me. I don't know how long it took me, but I ended up with the 13 songs on Onion, and then you know you release it and like nothing happens. But you know the cool thing with Onion was I was sharing. I had like a Bandcamp page. And I would just link people, like my closest friends who liked my music. I would link it to them,
Yeah.
and so they could hear like the process of me working on the songs. And I thought that was, you know, if I had an artist that I liked that did something like that, I would be thrilled to hear the process of it. So it had different forms, but I finished it, and then years later, it, like, you know, people started listening to it,
Mm-hmm.
which was really nice. And then the next album after that, after like Provisional Pop Songs, the Fear and Love, that was a concept album. I really love the idea of doing concept albums. All my albums have been concept albums, even the new one. So I put out singles. I just felt like it needed to exist as a whole instead of, you know, I had designed it so that you listen to it almost like you watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal also was to be able to take songs and exist out of context.
Right.
You know, I feel like the best Broadway shows have they have to do that in order to be successful. You know, in order to have West Side Story, like you need to have somewhere.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it needs to exist outside of the show.
The breakaway.
Yeah, but then it also just works in the show. So that was kind of how I designed that record, and it wasn't very singles oriented. And then something's been happening within the past few years, where I would notice that because attention spans are so quick now with listeners, that the amount of splash that a single has equals an album pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, you know, just the fact alone that it even comes close to equaling an album tells me something, which was I need to focus on singles.
Yeah.
Because it's just like listeners are like, all right, what's next? Cool.
Well,
What's next?
yeah, it's funny, it's the repetition of history
Yeah.
of, Elvis, his first album,
Yes.
was it Sun Records album, was just every, like, the 16 songs he put out as singles. And then
Yes.
they stuck them onto
Yes.
an LP, onto a 33, but it was always those 45s. And it's, like you're saying, how it equals.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, in the age of Spotify, the present age of Spotify, and these curated playlists, the release radar, the daily mixes.
Yeah, specifically with Spotify.
Yeah, how it's strange how let's say you put out your album, put out Chaseland. In the algorithm, it exists as one unit, the same as your song Tonight does.
Completely.
So
yeah, everything is algorithm based now, and it treats it pretty much the same.
Yeah.
One song versus an album. Now, you mentioned Elvis, which is interesting. Just anything from that, they're so cute. Anything from that, I think now the music industry is back to where it was in the 40s and the 50s. And then like early to mid 60s, which was the single is the important thing, and then you make an album as a reaction to the single. So the artist makes a bunch of singles. Well, you come out with like probably a single every 2 months, every 3 months. The label like hounds you, like,
yeah,
we got to get something out there. And so based on the success of the song, then that dictates how your album will sound. And I don't think we're back to that entirely, but we are definitely back out of the album world, which it like makes me sad, but it's also, there's a relief to it, and there's a sadness to it, and there's a frustration with it, and then there's also like an excitement about it.
Yeah, because it's like the up and coming artists, and even like the well established musicians, it's like they don't have the fan base and luxury of Taylor Swift and Drake, who can drop.
Yeah, no, they've earned that.
They can drop the album with a week's notice.
Yeah.
With a cryptic Instagram post, and
yeah, you've earned the right to do that.
And so they can do that whole album. But yeah, like as you're saying, you to maintain interest, to maintain, I guess, relevancy, but also a connection with the fans.
Yeah.
Along with each single, you sent out emails.
Yeah.
And you were active on Instagram of, posting the videos, posting the lyric sheets, and so it felt like, for me at least, as a viewer and listener, each song was a little gift, almost.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, instead of not to say that releasing one single in the album would lessen it, but it's like, oh, it's Friday, and I get the new Chase Ceglie email, the new your Instagram post of here's the video snapshot, 45-minute of the video, and then here's the lyric sheet, and then the breakdown of Chase Ceglie did all this and all that,
right?
And then it's like I get to listen to it for a week, and then boom, the next gift.
Right. Yeah, I think I think as an entertainer, it's nice to. The goal is to make your fans and build a fan base that it's all just excitement about being in a club.
Yeah.
You're part of this thing that, like, a lot of people don't know about, or whatever. How many people know about it? But it's something that you can show, and you have ownership of it. And I think that that's so important. I mean, every successful entertainer, artist, like celebrity, they are celebrated. That's the whole point of being a celebrity, is like people celebrate them. And so you have to make them feel like they're part of a secret club. And my favorite artists do that. I'm on email lists or whatever. I get excited when things like that happen. It's
She texted back.
Oh yeah. What'd she say?
We got dinner. Bro, you were so right, dude. I was so sorry to doubt you. You just said it was gonna be good.
Yeah. I so going into this record, I really liked the number 8. And I wanted to do the single thing. I actually didn't know. A lot of it was spontaneous.
Yeah.
I didn't like. I always wonder that with certain artists, how much of things are premeditated, or how much of it is kind of just reacting to the being present, just being spontaneous. And for me, that's how it worked. I kind of learned about my favorite artists through this process, where you set up a certain structure that is planned and premeditated so that you can act spontaneous within that structure that you create for yourself.
Yeah.
Which I just like, it's fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, you like you said, you wrote the songs to the piano here, and you sort of hear them in your head. You know, you track some rough demos here, but then you take, A, B, B, those sections, you take them to New York, to your buddy John, and all of a sudden you have a different perspective. And maybe enough time has passed that now you're like, oh, let's flip this.
Yeah.
Let's add this instrument, and now it's more, like I said, reactionary.
Yeah.
Instead of nothing's wrong. Not that there's something wrong with formulaic, but you're, like I said, you're reacting to, you're in the studio, and a little mistake becomes now.
Yes.
The forefront.
The thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and our goal, the role of being just creating things is to order things. But in order to do that, you have to react to what's around you. You can't just be unmoving in what you're doing. I had set it up so I had these 8 songs, came back from New York with 10 songs. 3 of them haven't. I haven't. They're not ready yet, or I'm just not whatever about them.
Yeah.
I had 7 songs from John, and then the additional one that I recorded in Pawtucket at Machines with Magnets. So I had those, and I remember showing them to 2 friends of mine, just being like, "Hey, you want to hear my new album? Like, I think I'm gonna shoot. I got to shoot a video to 1 or 2 of these."
Yeah.
And they loved the album. It seemed like each song just was strong enough, and in that moment, we realized that there was something. Doing 8 videos seemed doable.
Yeah.
More so than doing 1. I don't know why, but I felt that it was a goal that I had that seemed really exciting and challenging, but I set it up as a structure because if I just made 1 video, I would have been so perfect about that 1 video. And Precious, which is like the total enemy of that. And so there was something very exciting about making 8 of them, because it was like, you don't have time to be precious about any of this stuff. Just document.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever is happening that day happens, instead of picking your... That's the thing that you have an album, you say, but this is the single, this is the favorite.
Yeah.
And then crafting your entire process around it, the video, the social media, but spreading it out, everything's equal.
Yeah.
And everything is... everything's the favorite, and everything is,
Yeah, you're giving every song the chance. You're giving every song a chance.
Yeah.
And before this, I had 1 music video, before, and I just kept looking at my favorite musicians, and I'm on YouTube for hours a day, just constantly watching things from my favorite musicians and artists, and I was like, damn, I have nothing. You know, like I don't have much.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I took a cue, like, what do I like? What do I want from my favorite artists? Well, I want to see them. You know, even this interview alone is like, I like watching my favorite musicians and my favorite artists. It's like artists I like hearing them do things. So it's like,
Well,
I just needed more. Like I just wanted more. I think I think that setting that goal for myself was really refreshing and a challenge that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the end of it, it's like you can't say I didn't try. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted, is like I just wanted that feeling of like you can't say I didn't try. You know, like I made the music, I did the videos, like
you didn't half-ass this. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I am very I don't want to go on about my life later and not, you know, just like have regrets about not doing things. I just want to just do it.
Yeah.
Because I have like I have music that is, it's not stopping. Like I feel like I am music. So I just want to make as much stuff as I can. And the only reason why I would want money is so I can make more things.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just a constant wheel.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's like some people like to look at it, you know, pessimistically or nihilistically, and I don't believe in nihilism personally, but it's like this idea of, you know, I want to make something. I want to make a song. I want to make an album. I want to make a video, whatever it is. I want to make a painting. I want to write a book, and then they get downtrodden of, you know, well, everyone's doing it, you know.
Yeah.
Someone in, you know, middle of Ohio, someone in, you know, flyover state somewhere, they're doing the same thing. You know, why is mine more important? And then, you know, that kills their drive. But it's this idea of like, well, if there's so many people doing it, why bother? Flip it.
Yeah.
If there's so many people doing it, let's make mine good. Let's do it. Why not go all the way?
Right.
You know, if you know, I have an idea, if I have, you know, to make a song, to write a book, to make a painting, why not fully hit it?
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, getting, you know, I mean, it's something that, you know, personally I have to work on every day, you know, like remind myself that this is important.
Yeah, it's important to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have specific things I tell myself as a musician, which is there's room for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to run out of room for music or for just entertainment. You know, it's like Netflix. It's like the newest thing comes out, we're going to watch it. You know, we're not going to ever be like, there's too much. No, like don't stop making things, you know, like that. Yeah. It's never a thing.
No.
Especially if you have a fan base and people that are, why would anyone, if you're a fan of someone, why would they ever want you to not have more things?
Yeah.
Like if there's if I find a new artist, well, an artist that's new to me, and I see that they have 10 albums, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, well, that's too much. You know, I might be a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I might be like, ooh, this is going to take some time. But it's like ooh, this is going to take some time.
Yeah.
This is exciting. So that's something that I tell myself is there is room for everyone. And it's whatever you make, if it affects you, it's probably going to affect someone.
Yeah.
And if it affects someone, it's probably going to affect multiple people. Mm-hmm. Because we're humans. And so if one thing means something to someone, then that means that there are how many people on the planet?
Just hit 8 billion.
8 billion people?
Yeah.
There are 8 billion people on the planet. And what makes one person different than any of those 8 billion people? You know, we're all different, but we're all intrinsically the same. If it means something, that's how I feel about my, like, growing a fan base. It's slow. But if 3 people like it,
Mhm.
that means there are 30 people that will like it, which means there are 300, which means there are 3,000, which means there are 30,000, which, you know, it goes on. It just, that's just how we operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then slowly, it takes time, but then slowly Onion becomes.
Yeah. I know, I get messages like pretty much every day. Just saying how much, you know, that music means to people, which is really, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's it.
I think the 8 billionth person
Yeah.
was born in Oklahoma. I know his name's Damien.
Okay.
That's 100% true. I think
Yeah.
he was in Oklahoma. And that's your audience, man. That's what you got to go for.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's him.
Yeah, get the new people.
You got to get him. He's a week old.
Yeah.
You got to get him. Got to get him.
Indoctrinate him quickly and early.
So, you know, this wheel of not just producing songs but writing songs. So you mentioned, you know, you went off, but you had this goal to write 30,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, did a little less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you wrote them here, did all that. You took a handful to New York,
Yeah.
fleshed them out. You recorded 10 or so, 8 or 9 or 10, kept 7, did 1. So, you know, it starts. So you're the point is you're cutting away some things,
Yeah.
and as I know, maybe some of the people who listen know, you know, provisional pop songs is a sound collage that I love, and it's a sound collage of voice memos, demos, of thoughts, ideas,
Yeah.
and then you see them pop up throughout. You know, you see a sax line on provisional pop songs pop up as
Yeah.
"Fix These Broken Eyes."
Yeah, that whole song is.
It comes back tonight
Yeah.
on this album is a reimagining of
Whatever by name.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Of, you know, provisional pop songs, and same with there's a sax line in provisional pop songs that is on Hold On.
Yeah, the chorus of Hold On.
Yeah, these little bits that, you know, these ideas. So I guess, you know, like in the idea of, you know, an album's or a song's never finished, something's never finished. You know, looking forward, you know, these songs that you weren't ready yet were scrapped a
Yeah.
little bit. You know, they still dancing around your head and in your ears.
Oh, constantly. So when I say that I wrote 30 songs,
What I mean is I wrote 5.
yes, I wrote 5. No, that means I wrote 30 of them over the past 10 years. And I figured out a way, so as a writer, my something that I tell myself constantly is document.
Mhm.
Don't create. Document. Don't
Process
create.
versus product.
Yeah. Don't go into something thinking that you're going to make something. Just you're taking a photo of where you're sitting. That's it. So, by doing that, I'm constantly recording myself. My phone is like, you know, the voice memos are like in the thousands now. What I'm doing, I view songwriting as puzzle pieces or breadcrumbs on the trail with like Hansel and Gretel. So like, you know, you're just putting little breadcrumbs into the woods as you're walking so that you can find your way back home.
Yeah. And then on the way back you go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. And so there are my songs are made up of puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come up with I think this really works with melodies and chord progressions. I don't know how much it works if you're doing lyrics first, but with me, I'm just collecting little melodies.
Mm-hmm.
The chorus of Hold On. No, 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 no. That was just like a melody I had. And I had that for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I just didn't find a place for that specific puzzle piece.
Right.
Until I found a verse that I just like stumbled, like my songwriting is like finding a penny on the ground and like,
Yeah.
I didn't write this. I just found it.
Yeah.
And so
Now all of a sudden it fits.
it's like it works. You you put them all in the same key and you just figure it out. So it can be a grueling process. But it's also just what I've found is the only way that I can work is just collecting little puzzle pieces for songs. It's very frustrating because right now I have like 3 or 4 songs that I am happy with, except I'm missing a puzzle piece, So I'm going back in my voice memos, looking at the breadcrumbs, like, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have?
Yeah.
Like these melodies are like in my trunk, and not, my songwriting is melody first.
Yeah.
Lyrics come at the 11th hour for me. And Provisional Pop Songs was it was just me documenting things. That was basically me just sifting through my hard drive and finding it was also a nice exercise in sequencing, which I love for an album. Just finding ways to paste things, and here are my little fragments. And I felt that doing that was actually way more honest. Well, it's not more honest. It's a different type of honesty than my other albums. It's more visceral and it's more cerebral, and I listened back to Provisional Pop Songs, and just like all my albums, and I think going forward it'll always be like this. You make things and you know exactly where you were when you made them.
Yeah.
But with that, like Provisional Pop Songs, I can listen back and like I feel it even differently.
Yeah, the exact room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just so... There's something really nice about that I want to hold on to going forward. I want to just do that. It's just document, don't create.
Yeah.
Just get ideas down. You will figure them out later.
Yeah.
No pressure. Put a little pressure on yourself to document.
Right.
So like, once a day, just get some idea down. And I found that at the beginning of this year, I did The Artist's Way, the book, the Julia Cameron book, which I think I've told you when I was doing that. It's a 12-week program, or a book that you follow for 12 weeks, and every morning.
It's a 12-step.
Yeah, it's a 12-step. Yeah. There's 12 weeks in the morning pages. There's 12 There's 12 months in a year. There's 12 notes in music. Everything goes in 12.
Oh, like 12 disciples.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, exactly. 12 zodiac signs.
12, please. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, The Artist's Way, there's 2 rules that the book, she sets for you, which is every week for 12 weeks, you got to take yourself on one like artist date. So basically, like, instead of bringing a date to something, you just take yourself somewhere that you wouldn't usually go. Museum, go to the movie theater alone, go on a walk, just as if you're taking someone, but it's you.
Yeah.
Do that, and then the real thing, which changed my life, is the morning pages.
Yeah. Changed
my life. I was never a journaling kind of person. I just, I found ways of doing it with music. So her prescription for everyone in the book is to write first thing in the morning. Don't check your phone. Don't whatever. Write 3 pages, longhand. Don't type, longhand, and it can be stream of consciousness. Well, it is stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
You're not planning anything. You're not doing any you're documenting what's happening. And for me, it turned into I'm documenting just my thought process.
Yeah.
My hand is moving with my thoughts. And, you know, you do that. You do that for 12 weeks. That's however many days. You know, you fill up
Right.
a notebook of these things
Yeah.
because it's 3 pages every morning.
That's your summer, yeah.
It takes about it takes 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes to do it every morning. You are, if you don't feel like doing it that day, just write.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing this. You know, like, I don't want to do this. 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 I don't feel like doing
You're
this.
still
I'm tired. I
taking
don't want to do
part,
this. Why do I have to do this? This is stupid. Blah, blah, blah. You can write that for 3 pages. Just whatever. Just get it onto the page.
Yeah.
And so that was huge for my writing thing, for my writing process, because I treated it like, I think it works on a lot of levels. There's something about actualizing your thoughts onto a piece of paper. You're making them physical.
Yeah.
Your thoughts. Okay, there's one layer to it. And then there's another layer of the discipline of every morning you wake up and you do this thing.
It's being very intentional.
Yeah.
With, it sounds contradictory, but intentional with being free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. You're setting a structure for yourself to be free.
To
Yeah.
be genuine and make mistakes and
Yes.
yeah.
You're just being you. You're just documenting. No pressure. And so there's something that you can do with it, which I think kills it, which is romanticizing that.
Mm-hmm.
So being cautious about your words, making them like as if you're the main character
Right.
in the movie, and
Writing it for someone else to read.
Yeah,
Which no one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it should be is you romanticize the idea of you just doing it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the camera is on your words, the camera is over here and you're over there just writing.
Yeah.
And so the romantic part of that is you're doing that for 4 months,
Yeah.
3 months, whatever 12 weeks is.
Yeah.
That is it works on that level, I think, the most. So
Yeah.
I equate it to, without that, I wouldn't have made this album. And there's a 4th week in that book where you have to get rid of the phone, the media, you can't watch movies, can't read, can't do anything.
Huh.
And so I wrote probably 10 songs that 1 week.
Yeah.
Because when you're working on something, your biggest distraction is the phone. For me, it's giant, social media, whatever, just checking things aimlessly. So when you restrict yourself for an entire week, like, I'm working on a song and then you set maybe like a 25-minute time limit. So it's like you work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. I like working like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in those 5-minute breaks, it's like, I guess I'll go pet the cat. I don't know what I'm going to... I guess I'll make another sandwich for like the 5th time. You're not going to just like...
I got to reorganize the flowers again.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exercise in like you are completely present in things. So I'm like, for 5 minutes, I'm just hanging out with the cats, where I usually be like... Scrolling, with doing whatever to distract myself.
Do you think that after that week, you found that something sort of stuck?
No.
You went right back?
It was even worse.
Really?
Yeah.
You were so deprived that...
Yeah, I feel like I haven't gotten off my phone since that week ended.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just, you just pay attention so much when you're not on your phone to things. Good, bad, you're just noticing things. Positive, negative, they don't exist, but you're just noticing things. And now I just generally, because of back on the phone, I've just noticed that I don't notice things as much. It's hard to. It really is. So
my lunch break last week, I forgot my phone at work. I got coffee. I sat in the park. I felt like a sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, staring at people.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, I mean, like, yeah, it takes you out of yourself, takes you out of, you notice things, you notice
Yeah.
conversations, you notice just, it sounds cheesy, but trees,
Yeah, the birds chirping.
just natural sounds. And
Yeah, it's really important. So I wrote a lot of songs that one week,
Yeah.
which I recommend for anyone. Is just, if the phone is an issue, which it seems like it is with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even the rule is you can't even read a book, which nowadays is like the one thing that you have besides going for a walk that isn't your phone.
Right.
Where it makes you feel smart to like read a book. You can't even do that.
We would take pride in telling our friends I read a book.
Yeah. I finished that book. Yeah, good for you.
Oh, you read a book.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's a good. You feel like you accomplished something.
But not even reading the book. So the idea is just nothing. No media coming in.
The goal for that is we listen to so many other voices. What happens if you just listen to your own for a week?
Yeah.
And it's hard, at work, you got to read if you, so it's not easy, and it's not always doable for a lot of people. It just changed.
Mm-hmm.
It was so informative for me.
Yeah.
And so, okay, going back to the morning pages thing, I treated my pen, right? And I would show you a notebook. You can't read anything I'm writing.
Yeah.
It's just like, because I'm trying to keep up with my thoughts. And so I'm just moving, and it's the worst handwriting ever. I could go back. It would be nice to look back and see what I was talking about, but my handwriting was so bad.
Yeah.
Also, I set the intention, like, you're never going to read that notebook ever again.
Yeah.
So don't go into it writing as if you're going to read it. Burn it
Right.
after. It doesn't exist
It
anymore.
exists today.
Yeah.
The second you finish that page.
Yes. Gone.
Gone.
You did the act, and now it doesn't exist anymore. So I treated my pen, my sloppy writing thing, almost as you put your finger on a note on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And you just follow it and just see where it goes. I'm pretty good at the piano. I'm not like classically trained or anything like that, but I know my theory, and I know how to play what I'm hearing in my head for the most part. I'm better at it on saxophone, but I can apply this to the saxophone too. I'm just playing a note on my horn, and I'm just following what's happening, stream of consciousness, with no boundaries, no keys, no chord progressions, no changes. I'm not playing any changes. And that was, I wrote Something Between Us. I wrote Forever. I finished This Love. I did the verse of Hold On. And I finished Finally Lonely. Probably in that one. Not that week, but that week was really great for me.
Yeah.
Just within that 4 month span. And there's 3 others that I also finished writing. Now, when I say I finished writing, I don't have any of the lyrics.
Yeah.
They're way last.
Yeah.
I joked with Yoni about it. We were talking the other day, and we recorded them, and I didn't know what the songs were about. I didn't have any. I had 0 lyrics.
Yeah.
Maybe the occasional line that the song was going to be based around.
Right.
But I had nothing. And that process is also really fun. I treat the lyric writing process similarly to you got to come up with so many different versions in order to find the right thing. Just you're documenting. No stress at all.
Mm-hmm.
The stress is just do it. But the stress is just do it. The stress isn't you have to finish it. Until it's close. Then you're like, you see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Do you think that's I think of so many, particularly bands who they have the person, the singer usually, who writes the lyrics, and that's, they do that, and other people do the music, or they do the music together, but they have, some people are lyrics first writers.
Yeah.
That's the way my mind works too, having studied creative writing. It's like I do lyrics and then I subtract to fit into something else. And you're the other way, there's more, obviously, instrument arrangement first. Immediately comes to my mind, most songs are like Riz Ortolani, which is like people added lyrics afterwards to his beautiful song. Like,
oh yeah, a lot of those like old movie, like the film themes. Didn't have words; they were orchestral pieces.
With the violins playing the melody.
I think even like the Godfather theme, like someone came up with words way later.
Yeah. Do you think that that's? Do you like your approach? Do you think that lyrics might be something that you prioritize in the future, or do you like? Because
that's a great question.
Like your approach now.
So, for me, right now, and it has been for the longest time, melody is the most important thing about music for me. I would say, for my dad would always growing up. My dad knows a lot about music. He's not a musician, but he understands how it operates. And he always tell me that there's like a hierarchy of needs for music. First is rhythm.
Yeah.
Next is melody. And then the third one is harmony. And a lot of people don't get to that part. But the first two are very important. Yeah. And I think the harmony thing comes with training or specific, like you specialize in, you are more in tune with the harmony of things as you become a richer listener.
Yeah.
So rhythm is important. And for me, I know that for audiences and just for a listener, melody is, for me, everything. Chords are nice. But as a listener too, I get really bored easily with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Usually if they don't incorporate a strong melody to it. And I think there are, just like how I was saying earlier, if I feel that way, there are at least 100 people on the planet that feel that way, if not more than that. So I've made that my priority for writing.
Yeah.
Is writing melodies. Big. I'm obsessed with big melodies.
Yeah.
Big, just sweeping. Big intervals and all with the intention of making it natural and having it be memorable and catchy and emotional. I think that's the most important thing for me. Now, what comes with that, the writing process with lyrics is that makes the lyric thing hell on earth.
Yeah.
For the most part. So when I'm writing when I'm writing a melody, because I'm documenting everything, because I'm recording everything, I have a specific melody that I have found. I don't like saying I wrote it. I like saying that I found it.
Yeah.
That feels more real to me. So I have an idea that I found. And so my process is I'm just going to start singing things. And I will just stream of consciousness with my vowels and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm documenting, I'm singing the melody. And a lot of this is in the demoing process or the writing process where I have so many different takes. And naturally, my mouth is saying sounds that, and I think like Jay-Z does this too. There's a certain impulse when you have a melodic line, that's where your vowel is going to go. So then the fun process is figuring out what I'm saying after I've recorded that.
Because you're making syllabic incantations, da da da.
Yeah.
There's syllables in there.
Yes. What's the most natural way that it sounds? So then, get your rhyming dictionary. Go on rhymezone.com. Near rhymes, imperfect rhymes, whatever,
Yeah.
perfect rhymes, and figure out. Sometimes it's obvious, like sometimes a phrase or a word just comes, and it's really nice. But then you are, and I still haven't figured out how stuck you have to be with that sound that you make in the first. I think it doesn't always have to be that way, but for the most part, it's a subconscious process of figuring out what you are trying to say with your melodies. And it takes a very long time to figure it out. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For me, like Forever, I wrote that song in 20 minutes. Almost like the Penny thing. Like, oh, look what I found. I just discovered this song. I didn't write it. This came from whatever, So I plan on never staying the same with my music. There will be parts of me that always will stay the same because it's me. But I want to actively do things differently every go around or through specific phases of my life. So what I really would love to do is do lyrics first, just for a few, because I think that a listener would appreciate that, because there's a different sound. If you write a song on guitar, it sounds different than how you wrote it, a song that you wrote on piano. If you wrote a song lyrics first, you can tell when a song is lyrics first versus melody. You can tell. And even going back to like old Broadway show tunes, which then became jazz standards, there was usually different writers for each. There's the melody writer and then there's the lyric writer. And so I think my dad was saying that with Richard Rodgers, it was either Hart or Hammerstein, where let's say with one lyric writer, Richard Rodgers had a different process, which was, he'll write the melody first and then one of the writers will do it. And then it flipped where the lyrics came first and then Richard Rodgers had to.
He built it in.
And I do that sometimes, especially as an exercise. I have some like private songwriting students, and that's one of the best exercises ever, is finding a piece of not poetry, but like a monologue in a movie, and writing a melody to that monologue. Don't change a single word. And try and go with the inflection, say the lines a bunch of times and see how you naturally speak it. Just how I did that sentence. See how you naturally speak it. It goes up and then it comes back down. Do that with the melodies. It's an amazing exercise because you come up with things you would never come up with. You come up with incredible melodies, or they could be not incredible. There's something. You come up with something different, a melody that is different than you would have done. So then you have little ideas. I did this with a student where it was a really gigantic monologue, and they did the entire thing, and just within the first sentence, we found 2 melodies that worked as like a verse. And when you remove the monologue from it, it's a melody that is yours now. You created it. Good job. This is your melody. Now take it and write new lyrics to it. Don't copy the same thing that
you extracted something from one, and now it's an organic,
completely
new thing.
It's so important. At the end, you'll find you won't know who had the end of Tonight. Or the bridge. That came from an exercise like that. It was a movie monologue, and I forget what it was, but it was my melody then. It was different words originally. Now you delete the words from the melody that you create from it, and then it's yours. It's the best. It really is great. Now, I would like to eventually just be... There are a lot of listeners out there that love lyrics. So, I don't want to be for everyone, but I'd like to try.
Yeah.
So, have different phases where I'm just switching it up for different people. Or taking, if I have people that appreciate what I'm doing, just keep bringing them along for a little bit of a challenge. I think that's really exciting. My favorite musicians do that.
You're saying, how a couple things. You're saying how you're always changing. Your music's always changing, whether stylistically or lyrically, whatever. It's always adapting and moving as you move. And then I think in regards to you teaching lessons, whether it's songwriting lessons, piano lessons, saxophone lessons, theory. How important is that in your own life for you to keep those gears polished? I noticed on this record, past records you've done really cool stuff modulating your voice, auto-tune, pitching it down, weird stuff like that. And on this album, your voice is huge. It's the first time I listened to it with you in the car was my favorite. The first thing I noticed was how big it was. So how important is that to you to keep your own stuff polished?
Well, I'm always going back. You mentioned teaching, and I think that there is a debt that I owe to people that have taught me things. And they have been unbelievably important to shaping who I am, not only as a musician, but just as a person. Just seeing how people operate in social situations or in musical situations. So I can't progress in life as a musician without teaching people what I have learned along the way, because it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
And not to say that, no, specifically, I don't know anything.
No.
But I have learned some things musically that I can pass along. And that also goes with, I am never going to stop learning things. I'm always going to look for people that challenge me and don't agree with me with what I'm doing. I actually I prefer that. So I'm always seeking, right now I've been studying with someone for 4 years now, privately, just for playing jazz music. Just, he's a phenomenal piano player. And, I play saxophone with jazz music, but I've learned concepts with him for 4 years now. I don't see myself not studying privately with someone for the rest of my life. It's because I don't know anything. Yeah. The more that I learn, the more I'm like, wow, I didn't know. What's the saying? The more you know, the more you don't know.
Yeah.
So with that too, I think teaching is really important. It is a part of music. You can't just keep things to yourself.
No.
If you do, then what's the point? It's no.
Do you think it helps you kind of go back to taking the lessons yourself, going back to making things a little more basic?
Yeah. Yes.
Instead of doing something that that you can play that's really complicated, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I recently had a teacher that just changed my playing completely. And this was even after studying music at school. I wish I had him before that. There are certain people you have in your life that just are able to synthesize things. Out of everything you have here to pick from, you have the endless possibilities, especially with improvising or writing. There are so many different songs to write. So the options are completely overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So to be able to set specific rules, for this album, just band. Mm-hmm. Don't do any other synthesizers. Don't do that. Just write for the band. I had this teacher that just synthesized everything to the smallest degree. So with improvising, instead of going to the gym and like working out in general, like every day is leg day, but it's not even leg day, it's ankle day. But it's not even ankle day, it's toe day. Like you are working, like for one day I'm gonna work on just one specific part of my body to the smallest degree. And that, I think, is what a good teacher does, is it helps you isolate those specific like musical muscles. Either whether it's a creative muscle or it's a physical, like technical muscle. That's what a good teacher does. And I've learned so much along the way about that I think, while I don't know anything, I still feel like I have things that have changed me and helped me. So I need to pass them along.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something about not changing. Is that what your question was?
No, about changing. You mentioned how you are changing, and on this album you have the full band. It's changed. Your voice is bigger. So I guess.
Yeah, my voice is bigger. I took a year of voice lessons.
Right.
I had some complex about my voice, which, I grew up as a saxophone player. So I'm so comfortable playing the saxophone. But this is my thing with the saxophone. Here's my thing with playing the saxophone.
Here's what I think.
So I grew up playing it, and this is like the beauty of having a teacher. I think we talked about this recently, where you learned something at such a young age that you didn't have the option to not learn it, which is so important at a young age, specifically with music. If I try and pick up something now, good luck.
Yeah.
It just becomes a hobby at this point. It becomes a thing that I do on the side. But with playing the saxophone, it was, you are 10 years old. You're going to, you just learn these things. And, you're excited about it at a young age, but you don't really know what's going on.
Right.
You're just moving throughout the years. And, I had an amazing teacher that put me through different bands and different auditions and stuff like that. He was really important. And I was just going along for the ride. Thankfully, I have that, education and that experience with the instrument. So then fast forward to, when I got to school, when I got to college, I grew to be I didn't care about it, the saxophone. Because I felt like I had, I have an ego. And I felt very limited by the saxophone. And that doesn't mean that the saxophone isn't, or playing one instrument isn't limitless. Playing an instrument is an infinite thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't listen to music that involved just the saxophone. And I think there's a thing with the saxophone that's hard. When you think of the saxophone, what do you think of?
Think of jazz.
You think of jazz.
Yeah.
You think of jazz music. That's it.
Done.
I mean,
Right.
I gotta be careful about how I say it. It's not just it. But if I play the saxophone, then I have to learn jazz. Why? That makes no sense to me. Why? That's so limiting. I mean, and I got to be careful because jazz is not limited.
Yeah.
But I had other ideas. And a lot of them involved making music that I listened to casually, which is like Stevie Wonder, Prince, just the Beatles, whatever, just music in general, pop music. And I got really frustrated with the instrument, or my relationship with the instrument, because I felt like I had to leave it in order to do what I really wanted to do. Not even, I hate the word want, but doing what was natural to me. Because I feel like I am music, so I want to make music. I don't just want to play the saxophone. I want to make music. And that involved writing lyrics, figuring out the perfect drum machine to use on a song with the arrangement, and writing a song is the greatest gift. That's it. It's the best. It's like creating a world.
Yeah.
Why? I felt that when I was playing the saxophone, you can create a world within this structure, which is a beautiful structure of jazz music.
Yeah.
It's still that structure. Now, I have come back to the saxophone because it's so me. Like it feels like my third arm, So I'm finding a way constantly to make both of me happy. Which is saxophone me, or just like horn player me, which is really just melody writing me. With a saxophone, you only have one note at a time.
Yeah.
So I view learning how to play jazz music as just learning how to write. Learning how to improvise, because that's what writing is. It's just improvising, but slowed down.
Yeah.
So I forget your question, but
I don't even know. Couldn't tell you. There's this pedagogy in teaching, and I'm not even going to try to guess whose pedagogy it is. But the idea is, that you're not lying to a kid, but that, because one, you should never lie to a kid in teaching, but that you're not revealing everything that they need to know right then. So, tell a little 4-year-old, when it gets cold, the leaves change color and fall.
Yeah.
And then as you progress, eventually, they change color and fall because they lose it's known as chlorophyll.
Yeah.
Right. There's things, math. 1 + 1 is 2. You don't need to tell a kid that 1 × 1 is 1. You don't need to tell them about imaginary numbers because it's not needed then, because you're building.
Right.
Because you're building these blocks. So I guess from our conversations, you learned at a young age, saxophone, these basics, incrementally went up, and then you hit the point, not the point with saxophone, but you hit the point where it's like, what else is there? So learn more things need to be revealed to you.
Completely.
And those revelations then.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. I didn't.
Not that people were keeping it from you.
Yeah.
It just you weren't ready to.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like right now, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I don't know. Yeah. And as when you're younger, learning an instrument, you don't know the entire spectrum of music, and it just reveals itself over time, which is beautiful. Now, I even look back, I look forward while trying to remain present in what I'm doing. I'm 26 now. I'll be 27 in 2 weeks. And I'm so curious what 36-year-old me would be thinking of the music that I'm making right now.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
There's no way to know, but I have certain I have my own opinions about my own music, and I have my own opinions about past music.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to see how it will change, because it has to change.
Yeah.
I feel like I change every 3 months. I feel like I'm a completely different person. I'm on some different obsession, or I'm in June I made 8 music videos, which the person I am in May was if they heard that, it would be like,
No, bro.
what are you talking
Yeah.
about? No. I'm very excited to see how much I change. Maybe I'll just be playing jazz music when I'm,
Right.
who knows? I might have come full circle to saxophone where I'm just like, no, this is the only thing that's important to me. Now, like, as a listener of me, or if I found an artist and they did that, I'd probably be a little disappointed that they would just play saxophone later in their life, because there's so much to music.
Yeah.
Like that. The saxophone isn't limiting. No, the saxophone isn't limited, but to me it is limiting.
Well, it's like there's no fun in being, self-cloning creatures of certainty. Like if we're making the same music that we made when we were 16,
Yeah.
today chances are we'd be really good
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah,
We'd be really
definitely.
good at making that music that we made.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the music that we made back then was bad. We look at it differently now.
Well, bad doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist.
It's just different, yeah.
Because we look back at it and we go, well, that was the best thing I'd ever done.
Yeah.
That because that was the most important thing
Yeah.
at that time. So
Yeah, that was what I was. That's the lens that I saw life through, and that's how I ordered my universe.
Yeah.
At that time.
And while this album that you have is phenomenal, not saying that in 10 years you'll look at it differently, but you might.
Oh, I hope I do.
Yeah, 10
Because
years.
then what am I doing?
Yeah.
I hope I change.
Yeah.
I hope I don't change, but I really hope I change.
yeah.
I really hope I'm not different, but I hope I change.
Yeah.
I should say it like that. I want to be the same. Because I feel the same as I did when I was 10 years old. Nothing about me feels different,
Yeah.
but I've changed.
You're still curious and
Yeah.
excited about things, like it's funny, the music that maybe, we listened to at 10, 15
Yeah.
that we didn't like, now we like.
Yeah.
Just because that's the nature of life.
Yeah.
You hear new things, you learn different things.
Yeah, and irony is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Going back and ironically viewing things is. I have like a thing I say where if I don't like something, I can find a way to like it,
Yeah.
to love it. Ironically,
Yeah.
I think that I love music.
That was so heavy, dude.
Now
Wow.
like the past 2 days, I've been just listening to country music.
Yeah.
Like, outlaw country and like Johnny Paycheck, and just like, and so one day I would love to do a country album because I love music.
Yeah.
So when I listen to music, I will listen to every aspect of that specific type of music, and I'll learn how to analyze it and how to see it for whatever structures that it creates. And I will know how to chew it up and spit it out in my version of it. Onion was 80s, like me falling in love with like 80s music, the Lindrum. I loved Celine Dion at that time. Like I was obsessed with Celine Dion a lot, and like a lot of I said Prince and like Stevie Wonder, right? And then Fear and Love was a lot of like earliest synthesizer music, so like Raymond Scott and Bruce Hack and
Peter Edwards.
yeah, plus concept albums, plus some R&B. I'm like, I've listened to everything.
Yeah.
I love like Maurice Ravel, so he finds a way into when I'm making like a dance track. Like I want that, and then this Chaseland is. I was just like I was saying, I listen to a lot of 70s singer-songwriters. So next record I want to make is a dance record. Like I want to make like a I have an idea of making like a post-punk, like make it sound like 1978, 1979,
Yeah.
with more dance elements, and then, but with acoustic guitar, about like
Right.
there's so many things, and this is all to say that I am an appreciator of every type of music, good, bad, positive, negative doesn't exist to me. It is all just music. Some of it I like, some of it I don't like. Some, and I shouldn't even say that. Some of it I understand, and some of it I don't understand yet.
Something's gonna resonate with you right now. Something won't. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. And I would hope that that to me is the most liberating way to go about making music. That is so freeing. Is the possibilities are endless. And I'm so excited to see what keeps happening. I don't know. And I keep looking at it too. I don't even know how to word it, but I've been trying to figure out how to word it. Maybe Pinky can help me out.
No.
I some days I don't have anything, and some days I have a lot. So on a day that I don't have anything, I'm so excited for the day that I have something. And I don't know what I'm going to come up with in the next year. If I do come up with anything, who knows? I might have literally nothing. I don't know. But it's almost like if I know who I am, and I know that I'm going to avoid the word want, but something similar to, I'm going to keep doing things.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep being me.
Yeah.
So if March me knew that one day I would decide to make 8 music videos in a month, March me would be very excited about that,
Yeah.
And so now, being present, being here right now, I'm just excited for what I'm gonna come up with, because I want to keep doing things and changing, and I know I'm gonna come up with things.
Yeah.
And I have come to a place where I trust that now. I didn't always trust that. And now I'm very comfortable with the fact that, some days I have it, some days I don't. But I will have it.
So as we get to the end, what's the not immediate. You have the album out, the music videos. Congratulations.
Thanks.
What's in the near future looking like?
I'm going to chill out until the new year. Who knows? But I would like to set the intention of not even really focusing on music that much for a month. I'm interested in depriving myself from writing music. I think that there would be something that comes out of that.
Hard
Because I haven't really done that.
Yeah.
I haven't really deprived myself of making music. And that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's just you're bottling up things. So then when it does happen, I think that I've always felt that the time doing something is equal, if not more important. No, sorry, the time away from something is equal, if not more important than the time doing something. Because your brain is always solving things subconsciously and ordering things and making things work. So my goal for the next year, I want to play shows. I want to play live. I want to go on tour. And then I want to keep making. I like the single thing for right now. I like it's more freeing than the idea of having to make an entire album. I haven't really done that yet. Even this album was an album that I was like, well, let's play the singles game.
Yeah.
For that,
but it was
for
a
the
song
algorithm
cycle,
gods. Yeah. So the next year, I'm just. Yeah, I don't know.
Play
I'm
shows.
excited. Yeah, I would like to play shows.
Have fun.
Keep writing.
Yeah. And then at one point, see what it all becomes.
Yeah. We're good.
We're good. Can we start filming now?
Yeah, I'll turn all the cameras on.
Stream Chaseland 2022.
Chaseland streaming now on all services. Music videos are live. YouTube. Follow at Ceglie on Instagram. On Twitter. Subscribe to his email list.
Yeah.
Visit his website for updates. Soon he might be coming to a city near you.
Yeah. Scene.
Rad.
Thanks, Devon.
I've never talked that.
Great job, guys.
Thanks, Gene.